Hey everybody, Jeff here. So, what you're about to see is the distinct pleasure I had today of speaking to Michael Drive about the new project Gale Force. The album Subhuman just dropped at the beginning of December and people are loving it. So, we caught up with Michael to discuss this new project. Now, I wanted to just do a quick intro here for those of you who maybe don't know Michael Drive or the story a little behind Gale Force and the members there. Basically, it's advertised as Michael Drive, formerly of Barren and Tracy G, who played with Dio. Now, Tracy G actually has a long history of music. He's just one of those shredding guitar players. He's been all over. And yes, he did play with Dio in the mid-90s. He was on the Angry Machines and Strange Highways album. But Tracy G, as far as when I first discovered him, was way back in '86. He played for The Warning. And now this is some of the old, they were just demo tapes back in California. You used to trade around, and it's more of a punk, just aggressive type punk. These were just reissued on CD, remastered and reissued by Rox Records. You can pick that up if you go to roxrecords.com. Followed up by that was 8 Ball Colos, similar, same singer, just different name, same Tracy G, same type of music. Again, this was also recently, in the past year, reissued by Rox Records. My understanding is there is a new album Tracy G's working on with David from this band to do some new stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. So I learned about Tracy G way back then, and he's been in a lot of projects. And then in the 90s, he got the gig with Dio, who has high praises for the man. And he is just, if you look at his website, tracyg.com, you'll find that he has a lot of music, just a lot of great stuff. A lot of it's instrumental. There is some with vocals. It's just all over the place. You need to check it out. But today we caught up with Michael Drive, the vocalist for the band. And as I said, Michael Drive, most of us would know, and we talked about this in the interview briefly, most of us would know where he got his start. This is, I guess he said, his first band and first album. Little young Michael here, Barren Cross. Now, most of us who know of the history of Barren Cross, they went on to do a few albums. They were a pretty big name back in their day. And then the band broke up, as bands do. And then in the 2000s, he came back with some solo stuff, Michael Drive. And this is some stuff worth picking up. You can get that on his website, michaeldrive.com. Then there was a Barren Cross reissue in the early, 2013-ish. They did a show. There was talk of possible future music, but that never happened. And so now, after some years of silence, Michael has come back and has joined forces with Gale Force, with Tracy G and the band there, and they've put out a very, very hot album. People are eating it up. Anyways, no more waste of time. Let's jump right in here and let's talk to Michael. Good morning, Michael. How you doing?
Good, very good, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
All right. Yes, we are talking today with Michael Drive, and we're talking about the new Gale Force release. But before we get into that, I've asked some other people, hey, what do y'all want me to ask him? And one thing they want to know is, where you been? It's been like, we hear from you, it seems like about every decade or two. And so, I mean, I guess the last really mainstream thing you all did was the, Barren Cross reunion. And that was like 7 years ago or so. And then you've been pretty quiet. And then we hear rumor that you're, the new singer for Worldview. And now all of a sudden, boom, you pop up with this new project. So what's been going on in your life that's kept you out of the music for so long, and now all of a sudden you're back with this great project?
Well, I've been working very closely with an artist. Her name is Shai Coltrane, and this is a very important thing that's going to be coming out with her, but I can't release any information about that, but it's kept me quite busy. But I have been wanting to release a new album for quite some time, and I was approached by by the band, actually, Paul Alfary and who's in Gale Force, and Tracy G, about being their lead singer. And so I checked out what they had. I listened to a song, and I felt moved by it right away. And I thought, I want to write something to this. So I wrote the very first song actually that we did that way, was Crash and Burn. We wrote that and finished it before we were even formed as a band. And so I really enjoyed that song. I felt passionate about it, and I thought, okay, let's get together. So we got together at a restaurant in Pasadena, California, and and worked everything out and decided to go for it. And so we were now a band. And then a year and a half. It's been about a year and a half since then. It took us to record the whole album. And so, but there you have it. We're now at this present stage where we just released it.
So how exactly did you run into them? They knew about you and they just reached out to you. Is that how it all worked out?
That's right. I have an internet presence that they found and connected with me and proposed what their proposal was, and I accepted. I really enjoyed the music that I felt. As I said, pretty passionate about the music that they were coming up with, and so we collaborated the whole album together. I wrote all the lyrics and the melody lines of the vocals, and did some of the arrangement a little bit, but they mostly did the music, and it's just worked out to be a really great album. I'm really enjoying this album.
And what is this? We heard just briefly, well, rabbit trail off, with the thing with the worldview and all of that was, we heard about that first, and then all of a sudden you come up with this. Which one came first, and are there still two projects, or what can you tell us about anything else going on?
Yeah, that's still happening. Actually, I'm doing an album as well with George Ochoa, who used to be with Deliverance and Recon, and he actually, the band is now called M24. That's going to be released somewhat soon, not quite yet, but we're about 80% of the way finished with that album. And it's quite different from Gale Force. It's still a metal album, and but very unique. And I'm really looking forward to that release as well. But right now, Gale Force is really a lot of getting a lot of great comments about it from the fans, and so.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I've seen some of the retailers that I deal with, some of that have been selling the new album just in the past couple of days, and they're saying they're already running out of stock. So it's really been a hot commodity, it seems like. So I can imagine.
We promised the fans on the website that the first 200 people to buy a CD would receive a signed copy, and we already sold out of all of those. And so that's a good indication that people are really liking the music. We have our first video is actually the same song that we started with. It's Crash and Burn, and people can see that at galeforceband.com. That's our official website, galeforceband.com, and they can see that video there.
Yeah, cool. I have seen that. So, and we did I did a quick write up for Heaven's Metal back when you first sent me the information and everything, and it shared all of that information. So that was right before launch or right after you launched it. So now, of course, our audience is curious, and I think I've already mentioned to you that your involvement in this and your history, in Barren Cross and other Christian projects. The question comes up: is Gale Force considered a Christian band, or just pretty much mainstream? Because we know Tracy G's background and in both types of he's done some Christian music in the 80s, and he's done some with Dio and everything. So people are just kind of curious what they might label this as.
Well, Gale Force is not classified a Christian band, although I am a Christian, and people can benefit from the lyrics in the songs. It's the same as in a lot of industries. If you ask a plumber what he does for a living, for example, he doesn't say, I'm a Christian plumber. He just says, I'm a plumber. But it's the way you live your life that determines who you are.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the person that asked me that, I had referred to them and said, I've seen the lyrics, and it's not like you're writing songs that are against your faith. So, But cool. I mean, that's just, I know people always, there's some people that really just kind of want to know that kind of stuff. So I'm assuming the way things have been going with the whole, everything in the world these days, the band hasn't had any live shows or anything to date yet, right? Or have you all done any kind of showcases or anything?
No, not yet. As I said, we concentrated very, very hard on recording the album, and was super focused on that for a year and a half. Now, with the pandemic and everything, I hate to bring that up, but well, hopefully, us groups will be released to be able to perform again, and then we can get back out there. But for now, we'll do what we can to stay in touch with the fans and to make the music that we do. Maybe we can do some things virtually, but I'm really looking forward to that moment where I can be on a stage and run all over the place and do this to people's hands like I like to do, and just really sing right to them. I love the interaction with the audience on stage.
But so, I mean, are you all the band members local? Do you all get together often? I know nowadays it seems like so many bands are almost projects where they do a lot of stuff online. Is Gale Force, are you all local to each other? Is it something you all get together a lot, or how does that work out for you all?
Well, we're in Los Angeles. We're all in Los Angeles, and that's where we abide. That's where we abide now. I mean, things could change in the future, but for now, that's where we are. And so, yeah, we get together occasionally. Actually, we just got together to sign those 200 CDs, which are now gone, but that was the last time we saw each other. So that was about, I don't know, a week and a half ago or something like that. And so, yeah, we'll get together, hopefully to do some events that we can figure out how to do without having to actually be in concert,
Well, I mean, you've got downtime. Why not just record another album now? Come on. You can't play. Oh, come on, do the follow-up already.
Yeah, right.
So with the other project you're doing, have you all, I guess you're having to get together with that too. So I guess you're really busy these days.
Yeah, I'm probably the busiest that I've ever been in my life. That's for sure. I feel like I have a calling and a purpose from God to take care of what I'm doing, and I'm really grateful for where I'm at. The reason, actually, let me tell you about my writing style. As well as a lead singer, I'm a composer, and I've written many songs, both music and lyrics. But for me, as far as the lyrical side of who I am, life has a lot of beauty, when you see it in the right way. But life also has its challenges, and some of my lyrics, I like to try and offer solutions to the things that people deal with, on a daily basis. Everyone's situation is unique, but solution is almost always the same. People are looking for fulfillment, everyone in different ways. Some seek fulfillment through their family, their wife or husband or children. Some seek fulfillment through their careers or money that they make or whatever they own that they care about. Some people seek fulfillment through through sex or alcohol or drugs or whatever else they put their heart into. But I've learned from experience that, and you can take this to the bank, none of these things can truly fulfill a person. The only one that can do that is God, and that's really who I am.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. And what? How does that? I mean, I know you say you wrote all the lyrics for Gale Force. You wrote all the music.
Yes, I did.
And so, I mean, the band's okay with the lyrical direction. They give you free reign with that. I know some bands that have worked with other Christian artists, and sometimes they can put constraints on them, or maybe they don't. And it seems like you've got pretty free reign on this.
Well, I write. Yeah, I do. But I write a lot of songs. They're not all about the same thing. I like to write about love. I like to write about different things that take place in our world today. And yeah, so.
Well, yeah, obviously we're not going to expect a lot of religious songs, and that's cool. I mean, and that's what we expect. But I've heard of other bands in your situation where the singer is a man of faith and the band is not, and sometimes they're like, yeah, just do what you want. So it's kind of neat that bands are like that. So.
But everybody, you'll go into a church and you'll have all kinds of people that don't even know God, that they're in church, but
Right.
they don't have they don't have a real relationship with God, and that's the difference. I don't like hypocrisy. If you're something, live it out to its fullest. If you're not, don't declare yourself as what you're not.
All right. So anything else you want? I mean, I love that little story you just told. You got anything else, insights or any other wisdom you'd like to share? I mean, just open your, what would you like to say? What would you like to tell the people? You've been
Well,
so long. We want to
what
know what's going on in your mind.
Well, some people, actually, one of the things that people like to know is my influence, or what are my influences actually, and so I'll talk about that for a moment. My biggest influences as an early musician were the British progressive rock bands of the '70s. There were bands like Yes, King Crimson, UK, early Genesis, and some progressive rock bands from other countries like Rush and Kansas. I also like the British metal bands, but uh, there's something about the British music that always attracted me, and I think I found the music to be a bit more unique. It really started with my first album that I ever owned, and that was the Beatles' Abbey Road, which I owned when I was 7 years old. I got that one.
Seems like everybody goes through that phase.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody's going to say you've been influenced. Obviously, I'm sure you get sick of hearing hey, he sounds like Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden. But you've got a powerhouse vocal style, and it's that's something that I have seen. I don't know if they've mentioned to you, but in comments about the new Gale Force, they're like, "Wow, Michael still got it." I mean, his vocals are there. I mean, you expect some people as they age to have a different edge, but you're right there. There's some people that really hold on to it, and you seem to have done that. Do
Well,
you
I'm
find
really
it's as easy to perform? Do you keep strong chops with your vocals, or do you feel any limitations with yourself these days?
no. I can't say that I do. I'm just really grateful to God for what He's given to me. It's a talent. Everybody has talents. Jeff, you can do something that I cannot do. We all are given certain gifts and talents, and we've got to use them. There's a reason why we have them in the first place, and so you just use them. And just because I'm a lead singer, doesn't make me any more special than the next man who has his own gifts. We all are fitted with unique things. Like the body has two hands, 2 feet, a head. If you take away any of those elements, you're missing a great deal. And so we're all meant to work together as a people, the human race. And so.
So tell us, you've got the album's been out now for what, a couple weeks, and so what are some of the responses you've been getting? How I mean, you said they've been really good. So anything you'd like to share as far as some of the things that have maybe making you step back and say, "Wow, I wasn't expecting that," or "That was really nice."
Well, I'm really amazed at the sheer amount of comments of people. They're really surprised actually, because I kind of came out of nowhere again. As you said, I've kind of been in hiding for quite a while, and I'm coming back out with a vengeance. And so people are pretty surprised. It's not very often that an artist makes a comeback after being away for so long. And oftentimes artists, when they get a little bit older, they tend to mellow out or something, but I haven't done any of that. If anything, I feel like I'm getting more aggressive in my approach musically, but and more passionate as well. And so yeah, the comments that we're getting from the fans though, it's just I'm so blessed. I can't think of a better word to use, by what they're saying to me about the songs. On the Gale Force website, galeforceband.com, we have a community page where I'm at. We've asked the question, what are your 3 favorite songs and why? And one of the things that I love to know is what songs move the people. And it's amazing how everybody will have their different set of 3 songs or 2 songs or 1 song or whatever. Nobody will be really alike. Everybody will have like these different songs on the album move them, and it's interesting to find out what it is about them that move them. But they're really excited about it, and I'm very happy to see that. And so I'm I thank the fans with all my heart for listening and for caring.
Can you tell from what you've seen so far? Are you seeing a lot of your prior fans from like Barren Cross, or are you finding that you're reaching a whole new crowd just because of the bands itself? I mean, are the names being thrown around and bringing in people, or are you finding a lot of mix of both, or a lot of new fans?
Well, right off the bat, we had a lot of Barren Cross fans for sure, uh, and some Tracy G fans as well, and a lot of people. I mean, it's hard to say who's from who, but it doesn't really matter,
Right.
But I think we're picking up a lot of new fans too because we have a good, unique sound, and a lot of passion and melody in the music. Tracy, he's a fantastic guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what Ronnie James Dio said about him in a quote when he was being interviewed. Dio said this. He said Tracy is absolutely a brilliant guitar player. He doesn't want to be a guitar player that people expect. He's a real progressive thinker. He plays the kind of music that Vinny Appice and I would want to play. I love playing with Tracy. Great sense of feel, great mind, and a great player. He's just brilliant all the way down the line, and he's capable of doing absolutely anything. I think I think that he does a better job than anybody I've ever played with, unquote. That's Dio, what he had to say about Tracy G. And so he's a great guitar player, quite unique in his approach. I agree with Dio on that note. And he's brought a lot to this album. And so combined, with all of our talents, Paul Alfieri, fantastic rhythm guitar player, Randy Oviedo, he's a monster on the bass. And anyway, the band I couldn't be more blessed with very talented musicians.
Yeah, there was one time actually I had when I lived in New York where I had planned to go see Dio with Tracy G, mainly because I wanted to see Tracy G because I had known him from his work in the 80s with The Warning and things like that. And I thought it'd just be kind of neat to go see him, but I never made it to the show. So I was like, dang it. Of course, now I wish I could see a Dio show again, but that was a while back. Well, speaking of your past, just real briefly, with the Barren Cross connection, y'all had the, reunion and talk of possibly new music. Is that pretty much done now and you're moving on to these new projects?
Yeah, I really don't know if there will be another Barren Cross album or not. I'm very happy with what I've created with Gale Force and also with what I'm doing with George Ochoa with the band M24. But you never know what's going to be in store for the future. You just never know. So we'll see.
But no real communication with the rest of the guys, I guess.
Oh no, I talked to them and
Okay.
just spoke with just spoke with those guys the other day actually, and we remain good friends. We have quite a history together. We got together. We were all living with our parents at the time when we first formed as a band. So,
Yes.
straight out of high school, and so
Bunch of little kids playing rock and roll.
that's right.
But you all were there in the beginning for that whole movement. I mean, you all were one of the core bands in those days. So yeah, it was. You all got in right at the right time. I mean, there was only a handful of those type of metal bands, and you all were right there. You're one of the big names. So, but yes, it is so great to see you back after so long. Of not hearing anything from you. So, and now to have two projects out, coming out, a second one. So you are making up for lost time, I guess, and you're gonna have a new solo album out soon too, right? Right, a third album, yeah.
Not so fast. Not so fast.
You got to make up for lost time. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I've been a busy beast, so but right now I'm really enjoying what Gale Force has done. So yeah.
Well, I know the album just hit, but what's next? Are you all just pushing this and going where it goes? And I mean, I like I say, obviously you're not touring, but has there been any talk about, hey, maybe we should start writing more music, or is it just kind of a downtime to promote the new album?
No, actually, we did talk about yet another song, which would be the first song that would be on the second album. So, yeah, but and as of right now, we are an independent release, and that could very well change quite soon. But we'll see. But
Yeah,
we're
that's a
open
good
to
question.
all possibilities.
Yeah, that is a good question. Are you all seeking, some kind of a deal? Nowadays, it just seems like so many bands are independent. They don't care about the record companies as much. Has there been any interest or even any shopping around or any interest on your part to pursue that for greater distribution, or are you all doing well on your own?
Well, I don't want to reveal anything about that quite yet. So,
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you all were looking or not. So,
mm.
but all right. Well, I know time is limited here, but what else? What do you want to share here for the last few minutes? I leave it up to you. Anything you want to tell us that maybe you've been itching to be asked, but so far no interviewer has asked you? I always like to ask people that. What is it you'd like to talk about that nobody ever asks you about? Because sometimes it never comes up.
Okay. Well, how I actually started. I don't think a lot of people necessarily know this because I'm not usually asked, how it was that you started. And so I'll start with this. My mother and father, I'm a first generation American. A lot of people don't even know that. My mother came from France. My father came from Belgium. They both met on the beach in Venice, Los Angeles, California. I grew up speaking French in the home, and I can speak it fluently, and I read it and write it as well. And at the age of 16, I asked a guitarist friend of mine to show me a few guitar chords, which he did, and I learned everything else by myself. I started composing, which really came naturally right away. I wrote my first song literally 3 months later after I started playing, and performed it live at my high school talent show. One thing I remember is when I first started playing guitar, we had bricks on the walls of my high school, and I would go along between classes and run my hands and my tips of my fingers, actually my left hand, along the wall of the bricks so I can develop calluses.
Calluses, yeah.
And so I did, like. It's probably looks weird to people, but I got the calluses, and which made it much easier to play. And so 3 months later, I had my first song that I had written, and as I performed that at the talent show, as I said. And then a year after I graduated from high school is when we formed my first real band, which was Barren. We received money from friends and family to record our first EP. That EP, as you know, was called Believe. We then sold about 4,000 copies of it very quickly and independently at the time, which is what caught the eye of our first record company, and who signed us, and they released our first official full-length album after they put us back in the studio recording 3 more songs, and that is what ended up being Rock for the King, after which our second record company bought out the contract from our first one. The second company was Enigma Capital, and then the first album with them was Atomic Arena, and followed by State of Control, and then anyway the rest is history. So that's kind of how I got my start, and I really enjoyed all the touring that we did. We toured in almost every state in the country, in the United States, and also in Europe and in Canada and Mexico and this and that, and I just really enjoyed all the touring, and it's something that I never lost, is my desire to play concerts. Some people, they want to just do albums and then not play shows, but I'm not one of those. I love the interaction with the people. So
it's the stage of intensity, right?
The stage of intensity, that's right.
And I'm not even, I think I probably might have known a little bit about your background on that. I'm not sure, but I guess that would kind of explain, you moved to France a while back, right? That's where you did some solo work. That's what we have on the website. So that makes sense. I guess do you have family over there still that you are with over there?
Yes, I do. I have an aunt and an uncle, cousin, that live actually mostly in the south of France. My mother was born just outside of Paris, in a small city called Gennevilliers. And but yeah, I moved to France in 2000. I bought a motorhome, which I transformed into a recording studio, which I began touring all of France and Germany at the time, recording my new music with musicians I was crossing on the road, and playing concerts wherever I was at the time. I would set up 3 guitars on stage and perform perform a concert that was like 2.5 to 3 hours. And that was a blast. I mean, I really enjoyed doing that.
And of course, if people are interested in that, most of that is still available on your website, microdrive.com. So
Yep.
definitely
That's right.
check that out. He's got some material over there. So we'll have all those links on here. So, well, all right. Well, I guess we're running down the time here. You need to run. So I give, any closing words, or we can just, say goodbye. And, thanks so much for joining us. But if you want to say anything else, any special thanks, go for it.
Okay. Well, yeah, mainly I just want to say thank you so much to the fans who have supported me throughout the years. And thank you to the fans now who have bought a Gale Force album and are actively supporting us as a band. I've got a lot to say in our music, and I think our music, both musically and lyrically, speaks for itself. And anyway, I want to thank you to the fans for what you have done and for being who you are. I love you guys. I don't take you for granted in any way, shape, or form. You are like family to me, and I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. So,
and I'm sure everybody is thrilled to see you back in public. So, and with potentially 2 really decent, heavy albums coming out. So good to see you. Tell the band they're gonna have to get back together for one more session to sign a 201 CD. Because I'm gonna want one now that they're sold out. So anyway.
Okay.
But all right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I will let you run, and I will hopefully talk to you soon. And looking forward to what is to come, and especially any other work on the side. So again, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. Thank you.
All right.